Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Tonight's video, it's March 1st. Welcome to March. We got through the February month there, and now we are on to brighter days. We have a lot of fun basketball to get to. We're starting to see the NBA playoffs take shape, and fantasy playoffs just around the corner. So I think in this video tonight, Tuesday Night Live, I might have a friend or two pop in. We'll see what happens there. Let me see what we got. We got Aiden in here tonight, and MVP Moran, March Madness. March is exciting, man. I'm not going to get too far ahead though on the Ja Morant MVP talk. He's got to keep it up. He's had a really good after the All-Star break, but I think he's got to keep it up. I can't get so the MVP race. For some reason, the Memphis Grizzlies are 12-2 without Ja Morant this year. They have a better win percentage without Ja Morant than they do with him. So to me, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Ja's got to keep it up, though. Ja's playing at the top of his game right now. Let's take a peek at Ja's numbers here. Since basically the one game before the All-Star break, you see 44, 46, 52, just putting up massive numbers. So if he can keep this up, and then, the scoring there at the end of the month here, he's been playing about as hot as anybody. So we'll see if Ja can keep it up. Right now, the Grizzlies, I'm having a lot of fun with the Grizzlies. And I'm not sure yet, man. I'm not sure. I still think Embiid might be my guy right now. I mean, Embiid's averaging almost 30 points per game just on his own. You look at the fantasy numbers, like his fantasy numbers are just insane. So some of these double doubles, he gets 40 points and 10 plus rebounds. So we'll see. I think for now, I still think it's our guy Joel Embiid. But anyways, what we're gonna do in this video, let's take a peek at some of the box scores. I guess the Pistons and the Wizards is the only one that's live right now, but we do have the Hawks, Celtics going live soon, and the Nets, Raptors. I believe no Fred VanVleet tonight. Let me double check that. I thought I saw VanVleet is out, and I believe Kyrie's not playing tonight either. So I'm just looking around for anything else. No Kevin Porter Jr. tonight. They're going to see Garrison Matthews get the start. It looks like Al Horford returns to the starting lineup. So Harden, Hurts, Joels. Yeah, I think that's probably going to lose some scoring. So that's what's kind of cool, man, is anything can go. Anything can go with this MVP race down the stretch. Still might even be Joker. Joker's been playing at the top level. But anyways, Pistons, Wizards. This game's just coming to that close of the first quarter here. It looks like 27 for Washington, and Detroit's at 24. The starters in this game, you have Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Corey Joseph still maintaining a starting spot there, and then Cade Cunningham, Kelly Olynyk coming off the bench, Frank Jackson off the bench, Killian Hayes, Hamidou Diallo, and Rodney McGruder. So far, nothing crazy here. It looks like Cade Cunningham off to a great start. 8 points and 6 rebounds. And then you got Sadiq Bey with a quick 7 points, but nothing really else statistically here. It looks like Isaiah Stewart is stealing a block, playing well. We go down to the Wizards. Kuzma and Caldwell Pope leading the way. 7 points for Kuzma, 8 points for KCP, and then some bench guys. I'm interested in this bench, man. They got some fun players here. Achimura, Avija, Thomas Bryant, Ish Smith, Setoransky's, I think, the new guy there now. But interesting, they got some fantasy pieces here that we're going to need to check in. So we'll monitor this game. I did want to go back to let's actually take a peek at some guys that you should probably be rostering. So what I'm going to do, so the All-Star break just started, we picked up basketball on last Thursday. So I'm just going to filter here by the last 7 days. And I just want to see who's been the hottest player since the All-Star break. And it looks like James Harden. I think that's only 2 games. So Harden in 2 games with his new team. Massive points. He gets a triple-double the other night here against the Knicks. 29, 10, and 16 triple-double with 5 steals, 76 fantasy points here. So James Harden's going to do some big numbers here with his new team. Giannis coming at number 2. Kyle Kuzma. So it's a 2-game sample here after the All-Star break, but putting up some mad points here. 34 points against Cleveland, 36 against San Antonio. 5 category player lately, steals and blocks included. So Kuzma playing really, really good right now. There's Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving. I think that was just a 1-game sample against Milwaukee, 38 points. Bam Adebayo, crazy numbers here for the Miami Heat. Just a double-double machine. He's been kind of 5 categories for sure, steals and blocks. So he's playing great. But I kind of wanted to look down the percent rostered, and I'm going to look and see if anyone sticks out that should be rostered right now. I want to shout out RJ Barrett. He's only 83% rostered, but he put up a massive game the other night. I think that's a career high 46 points for RJ Barrett. 55.75 fantasy points. So he's starting to ramp up his scoring for the Knicks. So he's playing, I guess, at the top of his game. And then there's John Moran. So like I love John Moran, but I don't know if I can call him an MVP candidate quite yet. He's been playing really, really good though. I like the numbers that I'm seeing from John Moran. And again, his last 7 days, I guess you lump around these 3 games here, playing fantastic ball. So he's a top 5 MVP finalist, I believe. Devin Booker soaring with no Chris Paul. That's good to see. SGA is back playing at the top of his game. I think it's been 2 or 3 games since SGA has been back. 3 games. Look at these numbers from SGA. Took a nice little pause here throughout most of February, and then 32, 36, 37. So just some massive games here. I don't know if that's all. Have these been victories here? Looks like they got beat by the Suns. What did they do against Indiana? They beat the Pacers, and then let's see what they did against Sacramento, and then they lost to Sacramento. So 1-2 with SGA back so far. CJ McCollum settling in nicely with his new team, the Pelicans. There's DeMar DeRozan. And I don't know if I can call DeRozan an MVP finalist just yet, but he's putting up mad points. So you look at these numbers here on the season, averaging 28 points. I think he would need to continue to rack up these 30 points to make his bid. But so far, so good. The number 1 shooting guard here for the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, having a resurgence here. Let me see who else sticks out. Someone that's low owned here. Let's go with Steven Adams. So since the All-Star break picked up, Steven Adams is averaging 40 points per game. And he's only 50% rostered. So this is interesting. You see 3 games since the All-Star break, a 30 fantasy point game, a 49-point game, and a 42-point game. So if you do play in 10 or 12-man leagues and Steven Adams is out there, I don't know why he's out there. He's averaging almost 28 points per game on the season. He's a center that needs to be owned. And he's really the first guy that's under about 90% that trips our wires here. And again, I'm filtering by fantasy points per game. Terrence Mann, the next man up here, he's averaging 38 points per game over the last 7 days. Look at his numbers. Just 2 games after the All-Star break here, he's put up a 19-10 game against the Lakers, and then he puts up a 9 and an 8 game here. But he is kind of he's a 4 to 5 category player here. And again, judging the last couple weeks here, basically since February 6th is when he kind of got very consistent. You look at these numbers here on the far right. Looks like Terence Mann only 23% rostered, and again, he's been averaging a ton of points over the last month or so. So he's a player that needs to be picked up. Let's keep it moving down the wire here. Sean Tate, the young Houston Rockets small forward / power forward. He's been on a tear this season, really. His numbers and his everything is starting to get more consistent. He was a fun player at the end of last year, and now he's starting to kind of make his mainstay here in the fantasy world here. But look at his last 5-7 games here. He's a fringe, must roster player in 10 and 12-man leagues. I think in 12-man leagues, he needs to be picked up in probably 10-man leagues for sure. But his last 2 games after the All-Star break, a 13, a 5, and a 6, a 14, 6, and a 4, and 4 steals. I like the consistency with the steals. He's usually good for 1 or 2 there. And then he's springy with the blocks too. So he's a 4 to 5 category player. Sean Tate, only 35% rostered. He needs to be secured for sure. Keep it moving here. Chuma Okeke, he had a career game the other night here against Houston. 32 minutes, 26 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. He's a 5 category guy. Most nights he's going to hit 5 categories. You see he's hit 5 categories in 4 straight games. 2 games after the All-Star break here, kind of mixed results. He had a 20.25 and a 55.5. That's kind of his range. We haven't seen too many 55s. You look at the numbers here. He's usually good for at least 20 fantasy points and somewhere, under 40. So settles in around 30 fantasy points, I would say, over the last month or so. On the season, though, he's at 22 points per game. Just a really fun player here. He's going to get more playing time as the season goes on. And he's in a rotation with Mo Bamba and I can't think of his name at the moment right now, Wendell Carter Jr. But let's keep it moving. Shout out some more names for you guys. Like the video if you are new, definitely subscribe to the channel. Again, we're just hanging out on Tuesday nights, going over some of the players that you guys need to roster. I'm interested with the Spurs. The Spurs are going to be a team that we're going to be watching to see if they can make a run for the play-in game in the West. And right now, they're just going to continue playing their youth. And Keldon Johnson, probably already rostered in 10-man leagues, but just in case, 75% rostered, just putting up some really nice numbers here. Is going to be a player, I think, for the future. Keldon Johnson, a guy that we're going to want to draft on our teams next year. There's Josh Giddey, under 70% rostered. What's he out with? It could be a minute, head coach Mark Daigneault said, according to Giddey's absence. Giddey is not day to day. So I would expect Giddey to be out for a week or so. And that's why Trey Mann, we'll get to that in a second. Let's actually go look at that. Let's go take a peek at OKC. So Josh Giddey out for a little bit here. He had been the second best player on this team since the All-Star break. And that's going to trip our sensors here for Trey Mann, who's only 9.7% rostered. And you look at it. Wow. You look at his last 5 games, all over 30 minutes. Look at the scoring. He's basically a 4-category player for the most part. And you look at the fantasy numbers here. 3 games, basically 38, 36, 38, 40, and a 16. We'll cross the 16 out. But it's looking really, really good here for Trey Mann. So if you guys have Josh Giddey, again, here's the quote. Josh Giddey, this came out yesterday. The head coach there, Daigneault, said, it's been a minute. He's not day to day. We don't really have any more information on that. He's got a hip injury. And again, this I think this occurred. Who knows when it occurred? Did it occur before the All-Star break? I'm not really sure. But if you need to add somebody here, and I guess here's the other thing too, is Daigneault's comments suggest the star rookie is in danger of missing Oklahoma City's entire 4-game week. So it's Tuesday night as we record this. The guy you want to pick up is Trey Mann. What's going on, Paul? Jackie Bauer, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We'll get to that question in a second, but I just want to touch on Trey Mann. Again, if you play in 10 or 12-man leagues, Trey Mann's going to be the guy for you to replace Josh Giddey. And anybody else worth a look here? The OKC Thunder have 3 other guys averaging over 20 fantasy points. That's Alexej Pokusevski, 23.8 points per game. Darius Bazley, a really good player here, and Isaiah Roby. So 5 guys right now averaging more than 20 fantasy points for the team. And then keep an eye on Lou Dort. Lou Dort might actually get some run here. He's listed as out with a shoulder absence. Not sure when we're going to see him, but if you have IR spots, definitely tuck him on the IR spot. But we did have a nice question here from Paul. And Markell Fultz getting some time back with the Orlando Magic. Let's actually take a look at what he did the other night in his return. He looked good. He shot the ball well. 20 fantasy points in that game, and they kept him on the low end of his minutes. They said 16 to 20 minutes, but they only gave him 16. He comes in and gets 10 points, 2 boards, 6 assists in the one game for 20 fantasy points. So I think that's really steady. He's probably going to get more than 16 minutes per game going forward, and it looks like this is my dad. My dad was able to snag Markell Fultz here. So I think this is a really strong pickup in a 10 or 12-man league. Especially if this is your worst player on your team. I mean, you're looking at a guy here who's just getting his feet back underneath him. He's going to get more involved with the offense going forward. And if we take a peek at this box score the other night, so this was a winning effort against the Pacers. They didn't really want to stress him too much, but he's competing with, of course, Cole Anthony, who's going to get his minutes. Jalen Suggs is going to get his minutes. But he's competing with RJ Hampton here. So depending on how he does, he's going to be in some competition here. They have a lot of – that's the problem is they have a lot of guards. You see Gary Harris Jr., 20 minutes, Terrence Ross, 14 minutes, and then you have let me pause that. So you have Gary Harris, 20 minutes, Terrence Ross, 14 minutes, RJ Hampton, 17, Markell Fultz, 16. So they're going to use a lot of these guys on the bench. And I guess if Fultz is playing well, again, he shot 5 of 7 from the field, 6 assists. They're going to want him more involved with this team here. So I'm excited about the Magic. They're not going anywhere this year, but they have a lot of guards to figure out, and they also have a lot of big guys here too. So I like Fultz. Definitely a player you want to add. And if I were to hit, let me show you. I was going to do this later, but we might as well get it out of the way now. If you're ever looking, for players to add in fantasy, just go ahead and filter and hit the plus minus, and you're going to see the top added players over the last 7 days. And Fultz is number 6. Number 6 in the last 5 days. He's seen an increase of 5%. And then there's Trey Mann. We talked about him. Lauri Markkanen coming in at number 2. He's about 43% rostered, and he's been playing really, really well since the All-Star break. Cameron Johnson, one of the best pickups that you can get right now with the Chris Paul injury. I did see a note for the Suns that Cameron Payne expected back at some point this week. So we'll see how the minutes look there. For now, though, the biggest benefactor of the Chris Paul injury has been Cameron Payne or Cameron Johnson. You see 35 minutes for him. They're not really even starting a point guard. They're letting Devin Booker be the point guard, and then they're bringing Aaron Holiday in off the bench for about 20 minutes. So we're going to see Cameron Payne inserted into this, with minutes somehow. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. But for now, they want Cameron Johnson shooting the ball. You see 11 field goals, good free throw shooter, and he's going to touch on 3 or 4 categories. So I think if you can still get Cam Johnson, he's only 16% rostered right now, and he's averaging 31 points per game since the All-Star break. So really good ad right here if you're playing in really 8, 10, or 12-man leagues. We talked about Okeke, talked about Sean Tate, talked about Markell Fultz, talked about Terrence Mann. Anybody else on this list? So Michael Porter Jr. is interesting. This is a player here who is expected back at some point. The Nuggets are planning to send Porter to the G League later this week. So he's going to get his time ramped up over the first bit of March. And maybe we get him back for the last couple weeks of March. And especially if you guys have IR spots, this is the player you can just plug in there and let him sit and get things back and continue to read the updates here. But we're going to be seeing Michael Porter Jr. back. And I think we're also going to see, I can't remember the shooting guard there. Why can't I remember the shooting guard there for the Nuggets? Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is expected coming back for the playoff push as well. So a lot of fun there. But I'm just going to keep working down this list. We have a couple guys here from the Pacers getting some run here. Isaiah Jackson, he's only 7% rostered, and he's averaging 24.5 points per game since the All-Star break. And then you have O'Shea Brissett, who's probably my favorite of the Pacers here. He's about 15% rostered, and he's averaging 32 fantasy points per game. So if you guys need big man help, this is a player that even going back before the All-Star break, minutes and points and rebounds are all starting to spike up. He's a 4 to 5 category player and just big points here. You see, a range of a low end 19 points, but 35, 42, 35. We'll cross out that 11, but 46, 41, a high ceiling caliber player here with O'Shea Brissett. I'm trying to see if anything else sticks out here. Jay Crowder had been, getting some nice run. With the extra minutes here from the Chris Paul injury. What about Dwight Howard, though? Did he play well? They have a game tonight. I guess that's kind of the marquee game tonight, isn't it? Dallas and the Lakers. I do think if you guys need help at the center position, here's your guy, Dwight Howard. He's going to get roughly 20 to 26 minutes. This is kind of his range of outcomes. They got blown out by the Pelicans the other night, so this isn't a blowout loss, keep in mind. So a bad game, 20 points, 47 on the high end. If you need the center help, that's probably where I would look. But let's head to the schedule here. I'm going to pop into the schedule and see what we got going on tonight. Hawks and Celtics just tipping off. Same with the Nets and Raptors. So it's still kind of too early for this. Maybe let's take a peek here at this Pistons-Wizards game and see what's going on. Not too much has changed. Just the backups are getting some numbers here. Looks like Corey Kispert starting to heat up there from the field goals, and Thomas Bryant starting to heat up as well as the Wizards 42 to 35. The other games going on right now. Brooklyn and the Raptors knotted up at 15. Celtics 4-0 over the Hawks right now. But I guess the game's on TV right now. What's on TNT? Hawks and Celtics are on TNT, so I might end up putting that game on right now. And then we do have the nightcap here, the Mavs and the Lakers. At 9 o'clock Central Time. But I think that's going to do it for this video. We'll be going live. We're going to go live on Thursday night. I think we'll have Drake for sure. Not sure about John. So come with your questions for Thursday night. Let me know if you guys have anything to add in the comments below. And thank you for your time. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.